Al-Shabaab control almost half of Somalia with the barrel of a gun. The Islamist militant group have been waging war on successive governments for more than a decade. Their ongoing attacks and suicide bombs have killed hundreds of civilians in Somalia and beyond. In Somalia's drought-stricken southwest, deep in Al-Shabaab territory, they are trying a parallel tactic. It's the battle for hearts and minds, as they face a drought that the UN says could leave 6 million people at risk of famine. They have granted me rare access. You might not expect Al-Shabaab to have a head of humanitarian affairs, but here in Dodale village, he's hard at work. With no rains here for 3 years, Sultan Ala Muhammad says Al-Shabaab are stepping in where others have failed. But Western NGO workers would be killed if they tried to access these areas. It's impossible to independently verify how many have died from starvation in Al-Shabaab territory. The group say some people have died of disease, but not from hunger. In the areas we were given access, Al-Shabaab were the only ones providing aid. But the reason is more complex than the group insists. Millions of Somalis live under Al-Shabaab rule. The group's policy is to keep the local population in their villages and bring aid to them, rather than let people leave their territory. NGOs say they are hamstrung by the dangers of operating in Al-Shabaab areas. In the past, they also accused the group of extortion, demanding taxes to work there, and could not be sure that aid was reaching civilians. Sultan Ala Muhammad's PR offensive is clear. He has his own film crew in tow, and flag bearers make sure the militants' branding is in every shot. As I speak to aid recipients under Sultan's watchful eye, his narrative seems to be hitting home. She probably knew her passionate defense of the militants would be rewarded with extra rations. But her views seem to be shared by many others I spoke to, who also feel abandoned by the wider world. Across Somalia, wealth and status are reflected through livestock. But animals are dying in huge numbers, and people are worried they will be next. I drove to a nearby water collection point behind Al-Shabaab's aid chief, but I kept my distance from his vehicle because the group's members are regularly targeted by US drone strikes. On the way, we were stopped by locals desperate for something to drink.
هاي بيا الآن بعدين هيسا. أكون عبك واي. Yeah.
This is the politics of water. Al-Shabaab control supply here, so they control life. The militants are consolidating their support base by establishing reservoirs. Their water tankers drive into the drought-stricken area from rivers hundreds of miles away. Each family receives 5 jerrycans per day. And Sultan, with one eye on the camera, keeps his charm offensive going. In the last famine in 2011, Al-Shabaab lost support among the local population. Thousands fled their territory in search of food and water, but this time the group's leaders say they have learned from their mistakes. I headed back to Dodale village to a waterfall. Al-Shabaab might be gaining politically from this crisis, but they are losing money. The group raised revenue by taxing livestock, so every animal that dies is Al-Shabaab's loss too. And with wells dry, sometimes dirty water is all they have. Hundreds of Somalis have died of cholera. This makeshift clinic offers a brief respite from the brutal sun. The Quran says that Allah created all living creatures from water, and for Al-Shabaab, the drought is a punishment from him. If divine retribution is the cause, now might be time for divine intervention. Al-Shabaab wanted to show the world they are more than just a masked militia. Last week, their prayers were finally answered and the rains began. But for many, it will take much more to wash away Al-Shabaab's sins.